Thinking of exiting your business or taking on a private equity partner to help you grow faster? BizNexus has you covered. Tap into our network of thousands of best-fit investors, acquirers, and proven M&A advisors, and we'll help you begin the relationship confidentially on your terms, your timeline. Learn more at biznexus.com.
Disclaimer from the always present legal team. Podcast conversations don't necessarily reflect the views of BizNexus Incorporated. Everything you hear is informational news and updates from around the industry. We're not recommending any investments. We're not offering any investment advice. Be sure to do your own homework.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge into complex topics and, well, get you informed fast. Today, we're looking at something pretty significant happening in corporate M&A. It's a real shift. You might hear the headlines, overall M&A deal value is shrinking. And yeah, at a macro level, that seems true. But underneath that, there's this really interesting counter trend popping up, especially in certain market segments. So our mission today, we want to unpack why these big corporations are increasingly aiming their M&A efforts at, well, earlier stage companies. Yeah. We're talking deals under $1 billion. Essentially, moving right into the lower middle market. We're pulling insights from some great sources for the brand new McKinsey M&A annual report for 2025, and also some really valuable stuff from InGEn customer discovery. We'll try to shed some light on the strategy, the implications, and the real operational hurdles that come with this trend. Okay, so let's dig into this. That McKinsey report, the 2025 one, it has a statistic that really jumps out. Even while total M&A value is down overall, corporate involvement in these early stage deals, it's actually rising distinctly. It really does feel like the big fish are, starting to swim in totally new ponds.
That's a perfect way to put it. That nuance is just so critical right now. We are definitely seeing corporates getting much more involved in M&A deals under that $1 billion mark. And, this isn't just a small tweak. It's a pretty significant shift into territory that looks a lot more like venture capital or growth equity. And you see it especially with industrial and strategic buyers. Historically, they were all about the big, mature targets.
Right. Much larger deals.
Exactly. So why the change? What's pushing them? Well, it seems compelling. There's way more pressure now for these corporations to cover the full deal continuum, meaning they feel they have to engage with companies at all stages, startups, growth stage, not just the established players they used to focus on.
So it's not just about grabbing market share from a direct competitor anymore?
Not primarily, no. Yeah. It's really becoming about getting strategic access to cutting-edge tech, new capabilities, and that stuff is often bubbling up in these smaller, earlier stage companies, particularly in that lower middle market space.
Okay, so strategically it makes sense. You have to follow the innovation, got to go where it is. But I can just imagine the shift hasn't been, super smooth sailing for those traditional corporate M&A teams. What kind of practical problems are they hitting right away?
Oh, you've hit a huge point there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this shift has absolutely created a kind of a bottleneck. For these early stage deals specifically, unlike the big acquisitions, these smaller deals often need much faster timelines. Much faster. And crucially, they need a completely separate diligence process, something more agile.
Right.
And most traditional corporate M&A departments, they just aren't built for that speed or that type of evaluation.
Yeah.
It really is like asking a giant battleship to suddenly maneuver like a speedboat. A different skill set.
That's a great analogy. Okay, so they can't always just buy these companies outright easily. Are there other maybe clever strategies these corporates are using, ways to engage with this emerging tech and maybe de-risk things a bit in this new territory?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really fascinating here is that this focus on emerging tech isn't just about buying companies outright. Not anymore. Corporates are increasingly turning to what the sources are calling alliance and joint venture deals, JVs, right? They use these to sort of test the waters, to validate the emerging technologies first.
Oh, okay.
It reduces the risk quite significantly before they have to commit to a full acquisition.
Yeah.
It's like dating before marriage, basically.
Makes sense. And our sources actually break this down, which is really helpful. They highlight 3 distinct types of these alliance deals. Each one seems to have its own strategic edge, especially for this earlier stage tech. So first up, You've got minority investments or joint ventures. This is where a corporation takes a partial stake, maybe sets up a co-owned entity. It lets them really feel things out, check the alignment, see if there's a long-term fit with the target. It's a pretty low-risk way to learn together, which seems super important when the tech or even the market fit is still, developing. Okay, then the second type, commercial partnerships that come with acquisition rights. Now, this one seems really smart. It gives the corporation immediate access to a solution, maybe a piece of tech they need now, but it also has this built-in option to acquire it later if it proves successful.
Yeah, like a trial period.
Exactly. A trial for the tech with a clear path to own it if it actually works out. And then the third one, build to buy collaborations. Here, companies actually co-develop something from a very early stage, like right from the start. But the understanding, the intention, is that the corporation will take full ownership once the tech or the concept is really proven out, ready for scale.
That's almost like commissioning a custom solution that's designed for acquisition from day one. And if you step back and look at the bigger picture here, these alternative strategies, they aren't just like niche tactics anymore. They've shown really significant growth, both in the number of deals and the value.
Wow.
So it clearly shows this deep evolution in how large companies are thinking about innovation, about integration, and acquiring emerging tech, especially in that really dynamic lower middle market. It's not just about managing risk. It really points to a new kind of corporate agility, I think. Moving away from just huge monolithic acquisitions towards more of a portfolio approach, they're recognizing that, hey, innovation often happens outside our traditional walls.
Right. So, okay, let's bring this back to the people on the ground. If you're listening and you're on a corporate M&A team or maybe in strategy, what does all this actually mean for your day-to-day? Because it sounds like it's not just about adding smaller deals to the pipeline. This shift must be creating some pretty significant internal headaches, right? What's the core issue they're facing?
The core problem, and this came through really clearly in the InGEn customer discovery work, is basically this mismatch. These corporate M&A and strategy teams are suddenly expected to evaluate early-stage companies, pre-IPO startups, which are, fundamentally different animals than mature companies.
Totally different.
But they're expected to do this without any corresponding changes to their team size, their internal processes, or, critically, their specialized expertise. This just creates huge bandwidth constraints, massive, and it makes it incredibly difficult to vet what the sources aptly call tech noise. Separating the real breakthroughs from just the hype.
Tech noise, I like that, yeah.
It can lead to this kind of strategic paralysis, really undermining their ability to lock down those future capabilities they need.
And what are the direct consequences? What happens because of those constraints? Our sources suggest corporates are genuinely worried, maybe even a bit scared, about falling behind their competitors. But at the same time, they feel like they lack visibility. They can't clearly see the critical emerging tech or how their peers are actually engaging with it.
Exactly. It's a massive blind spot. And it directly impacts their long-term competitive position. And it raises that crucial question, right? When you don't have that internal capability, what happens next? Well, inevitably, it slows down decision-making. Deals take longer, get protracted. Companies struggle with those fundamental buy, build, or partner decisions. They're just not clear. And that leads to these big gaps in competitive intelligence, in overall strategy formulation.
It's a huge hurdle.
It is, because the sheer volume of emerging tech out there is just exploding. But the internal horsepower for that early stage diligence, it just hasn't kept pace inside most big companies.
Yeah, you can see the disconnect. And just to give people a concrete idea, what kind of emerging tech are we talking about here? What verticals are being targeted in this lower middle market space? Our sources mention a few key areas, things like frontline productivity and safety tech, so solutions for worker safety, retention, maybe onboarding, training, stuff for essential workers.
Right, really practical applications.
Definitely. Then there's automation and intelligent operations, robotics, AI, things to streamline industrial workflows. Also, industrial supply chain intelligence systems for optimizing supply chains, facilities.
Logistics, yeah.
And finally, data infrastructure and asset management. So real-time monitoring of assets using AI for predictive maintenance, that kind of thing.
All areas where smaller, really nimble companies are doing some truly innovative work. They're at the edge.
Absolutely. Okay, so tackling these challenges, especially when you're trying to navigate this lower middle market, it clearly needs some specialized help. The InGEn customer discovery work really highlighted this. It showed that the companies managing this shift will often lean on external expertise. They use structured approaches. It sort of reveals what the leading companies are actually doing to solve these pain points we've been discussing.
That's exactly right. That discovery work showed that the really effective solutions tend to offer support across 3 critical areas. And models like InGEN's kind of exemplify this. First is strategic tech scouting. And this isn't just, finding cool new gadgets.
Right.
It's about getting briefings on emerging tech that are specifically tied to your corporate strategy. It's about getting benchmarks on what your peers are doing and getting these curated shortlists of startups in the verticals you actually care about.
So it helps you focus.
Precisely. See what's really out there, what competitors are up to, and importantly, how it aligns with your own strategic goals. Then the second key area is startup vetting and insights. This means getting clear, concise deal briefs, some kind of viability scoring for potential targets, maybe comprehensive market maps.
Like seeing the whole landscape.
Yeah, by function or by theme. And crucially, getting guidance on that buy, build, or partner decision. This is what helps cut through that tech noise we talked about. Helps you make genuinely informed, data-driven choices about what to do next.
Okay, scouting, vetting.
Yeah.
What's the third piece?
The third piece is acquisition support. This can involve getting warm introductions to founders who are actually qualified and relevant. It might mean getting recommendations on custom transaction structures, things tailored to these early-stage deals, like should it be a JV, an alliance, straight M&A.
Right, because the standard playbook might not fit.
Exactly. And it can also include support after the introduction, things like light diligence, helping with Q&A, just facilitating that early engagement.
And what seems to make these approaches effective, based on that InGEN discovery, is that they are, quote, built for corporate M&A, not just venture. What does that mean practically?
It means the focus is on tech that's genuinely enterprise-ready, tech that aligns with corporate strategy and can lead to real industrial outcomes.
Not just chasing the latest buzz out of Silicon Valley.
Right. It also means offering a flexible, kind of lightweight engagement model, so companies can get that targeted scouting and diligence help without needing to suddenly hire a massive internal team or rely on expensive generalist consultants who don't really specialize in this unique early-stage space.
That makes sense. Get the expertise without the huge overhead.
And critically, the insights you get should directly connect your strategy to actual execution. The best models link those competitive benchmarks, the tech viability assessments, and real, actionable acquisition paths. It helps companies move faster and, frankly, more decisively.
Yeah, connecting the dots.
It really is.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the most successful frameworks, like InGEN's concept of a strategic flywheel for innovation outcomes, they create this continuous cycle. It's discover, invest, acquire. A loop. Discover, invest, acquire.
Which leads right to their core idea. Strategic insight today, smart growth tomorrow. It's all about building an integrated, ongoing approach to innovation that actually delivers tangible results.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Quick recap of our deep dive today. We've definitely seen this undeniable shift. Corporate M&A is moving decisively towards earlier stage deals into that lower middle market. It's really changing the game for big companies.
No question.
We've also seen how they're getting smarter about it, using strategic alliances more and more as a way to test things out, integrate new tech, and lower the risk.
Yep, those JVs and partnerships are key.
And we've really dug into the internal challenges corporations are facing as they adapt. Bandwidth constraints, vetting that tech noise, strategy blind spots.
Big hurdles.
And how specialized support is becoming pretty essential for navigating all this complexity. It really seems clear that if organizations want to stay competitive, want to genuinely innovate, they absolutely need to understand these trends. And they probably need to seriously consider getting specialized help to handle the complexities of emerging tech. The old M&A playbook. It just doesn't cut it anymore for securing those future capabilities.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, something to maybe mull over. Given this really profound shift we've talked about towards smaller deals, earlier stages, these diverse partnership models, how might the very definition of corporate M&A itself keep evolving? Could it be moving away from just being about massive, infrequent acquisitions towards something more like a continuous relationship-driven engagement with that lower middle market?
That's a fascinating question. A more ongoing dialogue, maybe.
Yeah. It's a thing to think about. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. If you do want to learn more about some of the solutions we touched on, particularly how InGEn helps corporate M&A and strategy teams with exactly these kinds of challenges, you can check them out atingen.vc. We'll catch you next time on the deep dive.
Acquiring a business? BizNexus simplifies it. Access thousands of updated opportunities in our DIY marketplace or supercharge team sourcing with OmniSource, your all-in-one platform for on-market, off-market, and coming-soon deals. Scale smarter today. Learn more or book a demo at www.biznexus.com.